Solomon is remembered as a beloved king, though his story is layered with complexities and contrasts. The Bible, a complete and impartial text, does not shy away from revealing the flaws and vulnerabilities of its great figures of faith. It's hard to think of the revered kings in the Bible without mentioning Solomon. He is forever etched in history as a king who loved God so much that he offered 1,000 burnt offerings and sought divine wisdom. His extraordinary understanding not only brought peace, but also played a crucial role in resolving conflicts and ending wars, as recounted in 1 Kings 3 verses 3 to 14. From the onset of his reign, Solomon demonstrated a deep love for the Lord by adhering to the instructions given to him by his father, David. This dedication was evident in his commitment to worship, as he frequently offered sacrifices at high places. Among these sacred sites, Gibeon stood out as the most significant place of worship. It was here that Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings, an act that symbolized his devotion. That night, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream and presented him with a profound opportunity, saying, "Ask for whatever you want me to give you." Solomon, in a moment of humility and recognition of God's grace, acknowledged the great kindness shown to his father, David. He requested a discerning heart to govern the people and the wisdom to distinguish between right and wrong, fully aware of the vastness of God's chosen people. God was immensely pleased with Solomon's request. In addition to granting him unparalleled wisdom, he bestowed upon Solomon wealth and honor, ensuring that no king before or after him would ever compare. Solomon's reign became synonymous with profound knowledge and insightful decisions that influenced not only his kingdom, but also the surrounding nations. He authored well-known books of the Bible, such as Ecclesiastes, the Song of Songs, and Proverbs, each filled with timeless wisdom that continues to resonate through the ages. In Proverbs 5 verses 1 to 2, he advises, "My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Turn your ear to my words of insight," emphasizing the importance of discernment in life's choices. Moreover, in Proverbs 9 verse 10, he writes, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom," highlighting the foundational aspect of reverence for God in the pursuit of understanding. Beyond his literary contributions, Solomon attracted visitors from far and wide, all eager to experience his renowned wisdom and vast wealth. As described in 1 Kings 10 verses 1 to 18, people traveled great distances to hear his insights and witness the splendor of his court. His wisdom was not just theoretical, it was practical and applicable to the lives of those who sought his counsel. Solomon was a wise and beloved king, and his legacy of wisdom continues to be explored, studied, and appreciated in various cultures around the world today. A particularly notable encounter occurred when the Queen of Sheba heard about Solomon's great reputation. Intrigued by the stories of his wisdom and the close relationship he maintained with the Lord, she decided to travel to Jerusalem to verify the accounts for herself. Arriving in the city with a grand caravan of camels loaded with spices, vast quantities of gold, and precious stones, the queen brought challenging questions designed to test Solomon's renowned intellect. Upon meeting him, she candidly shared all her concerns and inquiries, and the king responded with remarkable ease, finding nothing too complex or difficult to explain. As the queen observed Solomon's unmatched wisdom, the splendor of the palace he had constructed, the abundance of delectable food on his table, the meticulous organization of his officials, the well-dressed servants attending him, and the cupbearers who served during lavish feasts, she was genuinely amazed. Overwhelmed, she remarked, "The stories I heard in my own country about your achievements and wisdom are indeed true. However, I did not believe them until I saw it with my own eyes. In truth, not even half of your wisdom and wealth was shared with me." The queen also expressed admiration for Solomon's people and officials, commenting on how blessed they were to always be in the presence of such wisdom. She praised the Lord for elevating Solomon to the throne, reflecting the divine love and favor God had for Israel. In a gesture of gratitude and admiration, the queen presented Solomon with an extravagant gift: 120 talents of gold, large quantities of spices, and precious stones, an offering of immense value that symbolized the high regard in which she held him. Additionally, ships from her kingdom brought more riches and valuable materials to the king, which he utilized to further beautify the temple of the Lord and his royal palace. Solomon also crafted exquisite musical instruments from these materials, creating a cultural renaissance in the realm, the likes of which had never been seen before. Through these encounters and achievements, Solomon's legacy as a wise and affluent ruler was solidified. Yet, despite his numerous successes and the wisdom he imparted, His life serves as a reminder of the complexities of human nature and the potential for deviation from one's foundational principles. Solomon fulfilled all of the Queen of Sheba's requests and even exceeded her expectations with his generosity. After this remarkable exchange of gifts and wisdom, the queen returned to her homeland with her entourage, undoubtedly impressed by the king's magnificence and the splendor of his court. Solomon's wealth was truly immense. He was known to receive staggering amounts of gold each year, complemented by tributes from merchants and rulers from various lands. His financial prosperity allowed him to indulge in grand projects and lavish displays of wealth. One of Solomon's significant achievements was the construction of golden shields, which he ordered to be made for his palace. He filled the palace of the Forest of Lebanon with these remarkable treasures, showcasing the extent of his riches and the glory of his reign. The palace itself was a testament to his ambition and creativity, adorned with the finest materials available at the time. Solomon utilized almug wood, a rare and valuable resource, to create structural supports for the Lord's temple as well as the royal palace. This wood was also used to craft exquisite harps and lyres for the musicians who entertained at his court. Notably, after Solomon's time, such an extraordinary amount of almug wood was never imported again, highlighting the uniqueness of his reign and the resources at his disposal. King Solomon not only granted all of the Queen of Sheba's desires and requests, but also generously bestowed royal gifts upon her, further cementing diplomatic ties between their nations. Following this enriching exchange, she returned to her homeland, undoubtedly sharing tales of Solomon's wisdom and prosperity. Solomon's annual tribute of gold was astonishing, amounting to 666 talents, not including additional revenues from merchants, traders, and the many Arabian kings and governors of the surrounding territories. His wealth allowed him to commission the creation of 200 large shields made of hammered gold, each weighing 600 shekels, and 300 smaller shields, each composed of 3 kilograms of the finest hammered gold. These opulent shields were prominently displayed in the palace of the Forest of Lebanon, enhancing its grandeur. In addition to his military and architectural pursuits, Solomon crafted a grand throne of ivory, lavishly overlaid with fine gold, reflecting his unparalleled status and power. However, amidst the splendor of his reign, unsettling aspects of his personal life began to emerge. Solomon's marriages to 700 wives and 300 concubines did not go unnoticed, raising questions about his priorities and commitments. As recorded in 1 Kings 11 verses 1 to 13, Solomon loved many foreign women alongside Pharaoh's daughter, including Moabites, Ammonites, Sidonians, and Hittites. These women hailed from nations that the Lord had explicitly warned the Israelites against marrying, as it was believed that such unions could lead them astray and encourage the worship of foreign gods. Despite these warnings, Solomon developed deep attachments to these women. Over time, his heart turned away from the Lord, leading to a significant shift in his devotion. Unlike his father David, who was known for his unwavering commitment to God, Solomon became distracted and no longer fully devoted to the Lord. In a troubling departure from his faith, Solomon began to worship Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Molech, the detestable god of the Ammonites. He built altars for these deities on a hill east of Jerusalem, including ones dedicated to Chemosh, the god of Moab. His foreign wives also participated in these practices, offering sacrifices and burning incense to their gods, and Solomon allowed these rituals to take place. The Lord grew angry with Solomon for turning away from him, especially after having appeared to him twice and giving him specific commands to remain faithful. In response to Solomon's disobedience, the Lord declared, "Since you have not kept my covenant and have disobeyed my commands, I will tear the kingdom from your hands and give it to one of your servants. However, for the sake of your father David, I will not do this during your lifetime. I will take it from your son's hands. But for the sake of David and Jerusalem, I will leave one tribe for him." This divine judgment marked a turning point in Solomon's legacy, demonstrating that even the wisest of men are not immune to faltering. The city that God chose as a dwelling place was Jerusalem, and Solomon's indulgence, weaknesses, and lack of discipline in his relationships with women ultimately caused God to distance himself from him, leading to the near loss of everything Solomon had built. As recounted in 1 Kings 11 verses 28 to 40, Jeroboam, a young and capable man, gained prominence during this time. Observing Jeroboam's competence, Solomon appointed him to oversee the workforce of the tribes of Joseph. However, fate would soon change for both men. One day, as Jeroboam was leaving Jerusalem, the prophet Ahijah of Shiloh met him on the road, wearing a new cloak. They were alone in the field, and in a dramatic gesture, the prophet tore the cloak into 12 pieces. He then instructed Jeroboam to take 10 pieces for himself, proclaiming, "For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, I will tear the kingdom from Solomon's hands and give you 10 tribes. However, for the sake of my servant David and the city of Jerusalem, which I have chosen from among all the tribes of Israel, I will leave 1 tribe for Solomon's son, so that there will always be a lamp before me in Jerusalem, the city I have chosen for my name." This prophecy signified a profound shift in the history of Israel, as it foretold the division of the kingdom that would arise as a consequence of Solomon's actions. While Solomon's reign was marked by extraordinary achievements and wisdom, it also serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of faithfulness, discipline, and the consequences of straying from one's commitments. God clearly articulated that Solomon, by turning away from him and engaging in the worship of other gods such as Molech, the deity of the Ammonites, no longer adhered to the divine ways or obeyed the laws that had been established, much like his father David had. Despite these grave transgressions, God, out of deep respect for his covenant with David, chose to allow Solomon to continue ruling throughout his lifetime. This decision reflected God's unwavering commitment to his promises. However, God made it clear that he would not let Solomon's legacy endure in its entirety. Instead, he would take the kingdom from Solomon's son, granting 10 tribes to Jeroboam. 1 tribe would remain for the descendants of David, ensuring the fulfillment of God's promise to David regarding the continuity of his lineage. In his divine counsel to Jeroboam, God made a profound promise. If Jeroboam remained faithful and adhered to his commandments, he would be with him and establish a lasting dynasty, akin to that which had been established for David. This promise represented a new beginning and a chance for Jeroboam to lead Israel into a faithful future, emphasizing the importance of obedience to God. However, Solomon's response to this prophecy was one of desperation and fear. He attempted to eliminate Jeroboam, viewing him as a threat to his rule and legacy. Jeroboam, recognizing the danger, fled to Egypt, where he remained in exile until Solomon's death. This flight not only marked a significant turning point in Jeroboam's life, but also illustrated the tensions and consequences of Solomon's actions. Ultimately, the once beloved leader of the 12 tribes of Israel was left with only 1 tribe in his legacy, a stark reminder of the fragility of power and the impact of personal choices on national destiny. Solomon's story serves as a cautionary tale, teaching us that even the most celebrated heroes can possess profound weaknesses that must be confronted. His narrative underscores the importance of faithfulness, discipline, and the need for continual devotion to God. As we reflect on these lessons, it becomes evident that our own journeys require vigilance and commitment to the principles that honor God. In light of these reflections, if we aspire to remain steadfast in our faith and walk with God, let us turn to Him in prayer. Lord, thank you for being the loving King over my life. I am deeply grateful for the lessons drawn from Solomon's life and how his principles have enriched my understanding of living to please you. May I finish my journey gloriously and with purpose for the praise of your name. In Jesus' name, amen.